Oh, you know, I need paper towels. I get paper towels. Don't have. Yep, I need paper towels. Actually. Alright, I have paper towels now. Okie dokie. Let's have a little more light. That should help. Let's see. Move that out. Definitely you. Probably a good start. Yeah, I have gloves on today. I'm working with mammals. So I'm not going to be working on the adorable bird sculpture. I had a really busy day, and I've been doing taxidermy all day, so I am tired and kind of meh. So I'm going to be cleaning skulls. So that's why I have the big warning up. It's going to be pretty gross. I wear gloves when I'm working on mammals for a whole bunch of reasons. The main one being I am a mammal. And so there's a lot more diseases that you're likely to get from interacting with mammals. The other one, which is the main thing with these guys, is they smell bad. And so it sticks in your fingers more. So this little bag that's just off screen is full of dead mice. And a bag that's entirely off screen that you guys can't see has a sheep's head in it. Both of these things have a strong smell. So gloves today. It's just nicer in the end. These aren't my favorite gloves. I'm having a really hard time finding disposable gloves that fit right now. Apparently there's still a shortage for PPE when it comes to small or medium-sized gloves. So the world is full of large. So these aren't bad. You can see they're a little baggy. I was wearing large vinyl gloves all day at the Park District. And they suck. Because I don't have large hands. So that's where that's at. So yeah, for anybody who was hoping I was working on the bird today, I've decided not to just because I'm not in a good mental space. I'm too tired. I don't want to mess it up. It's a really delicate part and it's very arty. So I want to be fresher. So for those who aren't aware, I spent the day with actual humans. I know, weird. I was at the Nature Center for Oak Brook Terrace doing taxidermy demos for them, and having a nice day. And so I skinned and made study skins out of 2 adorable mice, and mostly ended up talking about the sheep's head. I wasn't sure if the mice were in good enough condition to skin, so I bought a sheep's head at the grocery store on my way there. And so I still have a sheep head, and so I'm going to be playing with that too. But I wanted to pull these guys out. So if you have no interest in seeing dead mice, not the time to have your video on. Just heads up, everybody. It's going to be grody today. It's interesting. Taxidermy broadly is usually not terribly gross. You're really not looking at anything too bad. But cleaning bones gets to be kind of gross because you're, especially heads. Heads are just kind of gross. And I do actually still have a whole mouse in here that I felt was a little too far gone to taxidermy, so I'm going to pull that out now. And then my 2 little skinned bodies. So I've got 2 little dead mice that I've already skinned. And so their skins now remain as my gift to the Oakbrook Terrace Park District because we're friends. But I'm keeping their little bodies so I can preserve just their little tiny heads. And then when the skin is on, this is what it looks like. So this is just a feeder mouse. They have bags of these to feed to their snakes. And there was a slight oopsie in which a freezer thawed unexpectedly, and they ended up with mouse soup. And so they didn't want to feed the questionable specimens to their snakes, which is great. That's good husbandry. So they gave them to me. And this mouse I didn't prep there for a couple of reasons. It seemed a little slippy, like the hair is just coming off of it, off of its abdomen. Yeah, like I can just push the hair off. So it was already starting to decay, and it has a broken leg. So it just wasn't a good specimen for taxidermy. So I saved this one for processing for this, and then I have these guys here. So, I mean, you could, I guess, but if I wasn't willing to feed it to a snake, I'm not going to make soup out of it. I mean, these are some pampered snakes, mind you, but so I'm literally not keeping most of these bodies. So if you're a scientific research institution and you want to get the bones out of a specimen this small, you use bugs. You let flesh-eating beetles, also called domestic beetles, eat all the tissue off for you, and they'll leave behind the super fine bones, and you get the whole skeleton. It's very, very cool. Me with my giant kludgy human hands has no hope of getting like all these delicate little vertebrae out. You know, like there's no way I can't clean that. So I'm just gonna keep their heads and throw out all the rest. So I'm just gonna cut their heads off right now. So again, if you're not into that, don't watch. They certainly don't care. And something we've learned is I cut really far down the neck, so I probably have a couple of vertebrae attached down here, and that's hunky-dory. I can get rid of those later. I have been there when people have cut the backs off of their animals' heads, which is a bummer. You know, word. Oh yeah, this mouse is slipping really bad. There's hair everywhere. Okay, so that's one head. Let's get the other head. For those who are familiar with the smell of mice, hey! You know, you've had them in your attic, you've had them as pets, whatever. Mice all have a smell, and so that's another reason I'm wearing gloves, is I really don't want that in my hands. It's gross. Also, you know, mice carry diseases. Hypothetically, the ones that are raised in a factory like these guys aren't going to have hepavirus and stuff like that, but meh. Saturday night mouse time! Alright, so this little guy is the third one that I didn't skin at the Nature Center, and so a term that I used a minute ago is slipping, which obviously we associate with, like, stepping on ice and falling over. In taxidermy, the term slippage is when the fur starts to or the tissues of the whole animal start to decompose to such a point that the fur falls off. And so you can see this shiny area here on its abdomen. That's slippage. That should have hair on it. It's a mouse. It's fuzzy. And you can see it's not symmetrical. You know, so there's this bit on this side that's naked, but not on the other side. And that's because this guy just a little too far gone. So basically the top layer of his skin is falling off. Her skin. The top layer of her skin is falling off. And so thus, obviously, since the point of taxidermy is to get cool, like, hair-covered skin, less useful. So I can't taxidermy this one. It's too far gone. So I'm just going to get her head off. But mice are really cute. They got cute little hands. They're nice little critters. Except for the whole disease thing and ruining, you know, stores of food. So I'm going to cut her head off. Again, she doesn't care. She is dead. But yeah, and so I'm not keeping any of this body. So that's a whole bag now of bodies and trasho that I don't need. And then for the head, I just, like, I don't know, peel it like a grape. Just boop. And if I was taxidermying it, this step would be much more delicate. But since I don't care about how the skin turns out, I can just kind of go fast here. Basically, you just cut the cartilage of the ears loose. So those are now done. And then cut around the eyes and skin that off. Yeah, this is so much faster than when I'm doing it and trying to make it look nice. Dang. But the two that I did at the Park District came out really lovely. I was really happy with them. There was a tiny bit of slippage. So, Library Rat, you're going to get a chance to see those at some point in person. And they... there's a few little bald spots on the belly, but they didn't really develop until I was washing the skins. So I just soldiered through. So they're not perfect, but if they were going to be used for science, which they aren't because they're feeder mice, but if they were, that little bit of slippage wouldn't be too much. Alright. And then I do have a sheep head with me. We'll see if we get to it tonight. I'm kind of excited about a sheep head. Because then I get a really big, cool skull out of it. The guys at the butcher counter were very nice. They offered to cut it up for me. And I was like, no, whole sheep head, thank you. If anybody wants to clip that, that'd be a good clip. Anyway. Alright. So... the sheep head is already skinned, since it's being served as food. So, alright, so that is the end of that. So now I have 3 little mouse heads ready to go. And obviously they're like little meatballs, right? These are like weird little, I don't know, poops. They're little gross things. They're just covered in tissue. I don't want that. What I want is to get the major muscle groups out, as much big muscle chunkos as I can out of this, and then I'm going to soak them in hydrogen peroxide, and that will loosen more of the tissue, it'll bleach them, and eventually I'll get cute little mousy skulls out of it, assuming I don't just crush it because I'm tired. Because you'll be shocked to learn that they're really delicate, because they're just these teensy-weensy little guys. So at this point, all I'm doing is I'm just cutting off blobs. If it's soft, I cut through it. Rodents have really muscular necks. Their whole body is just like a Twinkie of muscle. It's a terrible analogy. Anyway, and so they have these really column-like thick necks, and so you gotta get all that muscle off. Oh yeah, I definitely have an entire extra vertebrae back here. That's okay. But yeah, this is so much easier and more relaxing than sculpture. So I hope you guys can all forgive me for holding off on that project for a week. Although at some point when I have my gloves off, I'll show you I did get the eyes for the quail project, and they're lovely, and I'm really happy with them. So that's going to continue to go in good places. So. And you can see this is just meat. Like that's just ground beef. Maybe tastes different. But you know, mammal meat is mammal meat. Maybe I do want a scalpel. Might actually help. Yeah, let me get a scalpel. I haven't cleaned a skull this small in a hot minute, so I hemmed and hawed about the scalpel, and I think I hawed when I should have hemmed. It is, as always, a technical term. Also, cool thing when I was talking to actual humans in Meatspace, the very, very first person to walk in the door of the open house at this nature center had seen my team working at the Nature Museum. And so she gave me a look and she's like, "Oh, where did you usually do this?" And I was like, "Oh, I used to work for a museum." Was it the Notabart? I'm like, "Oh yeah." And it was just really nice. So I don't know if she'd recognized me specifically. I didn't get that feeling, but it was nice to know that my team has, recognition. Woo. Oh yeah, that helps. Yeah, no, scalpel time. I have to be careful with the scalpel because some of the bones are fine enough I could actually slice through with it. So, if I feel any resistance at all, I basically just stop. Wow, I left a lot of cartilage on that nose. Yeah, I can deal with that later. Is that in focus like at all? Yeah, it's not bad. Right now I'm just getting the cheeks off. The biggest muscles on most faces, but definitely on rodent faces, tend to be on the cheeks, so you have to go under the zygomatic arch, which is the cheekbone, more or less. It's the big hard bit under your eye. And on a skull, it sticks out really far and is really delicate. Which is why people, break their cheekbones if they smash their face against things. But what I really want to do is be able to get the lower mandible loose. Because in mammals, the bottom jaw is separate from the whole rest of the skull. And those are really the only two pieces. So if I can have that separate, when I soak it, it's just that much easier to do all the other steps. And talking to people is always fun. I mean, you guys as viewers are getting a lot of this, but I get the feedback, of having people immediately walk up and have feelings about what I'm working on. And there were these 2 kids that were probably 10, I'd say. And the adult they were with, did the classic, "You should go look in there." And, they reluctantly come in, and they're obviously pretty uncomfortable, and they don't want to talk to me and all that. So I answered a couple questions, and they escaped. And then, I don't know, one meeting with the turtle, and 15 minutes later, and they both kind of peek back in the room, and one of them, the one that talked more, was like, "I don't know why, but I want to come back." It's like, you can come back and hang out with me, man. And we ended up talking about the weasel family. I don't know. And it was fun. So, the strange allure of watching people do taxidermy. I got the jaw way loose. So I've got that starting to loosen up. Starting to be kind of a thing. I think I need a little more light down here. Yeah, that helped. Okay, yeah, I had that a little dark. Hopefully that helps. Oh yeah, I got that jaw nice and loose. And then I don't have a really specific plan with these little tiny mouse skulls. I figure they'll just be cool when they're clean, and then I can figure out some weirder purpose for them once they're prepped. But teensy weensy little skulls are fun. Almost got that side. So in a delightful element of know your people. So, I knew the people at the Oakbrook Terrace Nature Center, so that's why I got the invitation to go. So these are already people I'm on good terms with. And I I finished 2 adorable little study skins, and I'm really happy with them. And my friend Laura, who was running the event, is kind of hovering, and so she's like, "So, what you gonna do with those? You take them home?" And I said, "No, I was actually planning on offering them to you." And she's like, "Oh, thank goodness, because I really wanted to ask for them." And I mean, good friends know that both you're gonna want the adorable mouse skin, and you also know that the person's gonna give it to you. Like, yay. So you gotta find people on your wavelength. I've almost got this loose. Unsurprisingly, there's not only big muscles, but like real big tendons that hold your jaw on. So, oh, it's so close. Gosh, these are little. Alright, so there, I got the lower jaw off. It's still a mess, covered in schmutz, but, it's better. Schmutz being a technical term. Ooh, you can really see his palate. There's, the roof of a mouse's mouth is all ridgy, just like ours. Mammals, we have a lot in common. Yeah, I haven't really cleaned a mouse skull in a while. I think the last skull I cleaned was a rat, which is a good 2 to 3 times bigger than this. Rats are what I usually have my students do in taxidermy classes. And part of the reason is, gosh, this is tiny. Like, mice are so cute, but man, this is a teeny little critter. I don't know if I'm going to be able to rough out much more. I might have to soak this and then come back. I'm just trying to find anything mushy, that I can interact with. Oh, there's some brain. I should get some brain out. I'll do that in a minute. For anybody who watched the bird skinning, you will recall that brains are super boring and lame. So the same thing is going to be here. It's just mostly pink snot. There's a big tendon. And fun with tools, these tweezers have little teeth on the end. You can see that there's like, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's kind of out of focus. But these are great because you can really grab a lot of tissue and kind of go to town with ripping it off of things. Sometimes they're also the exact right tweezers you need to get a splinter out with proper decontamination. Oh, okay, I got a good area on this cheek. I just can pull some of that off. So yeah, cleaning skulls, it's tedious and gross. Beetles are better at it than we are. I do not have beetles. It would be too hard for an apartment dweller who also has cats. And taxidermy, honestly. Gemestids are so much fun, though. They make a great noise when they eat all the tissue off of old bones. It's a very soothing ASMR gnaw. They smell bad, but, you can forgive them for their hard work. Alright. I wonder if I can pull this eyeball out. I don't know if my tweezers are fine enough. Oh, no, there we go. Haha! There's an adorable teeny weeny eyeball. Cool. Easy. Alright, so now I have a lot more space. At some point, the jawbone migrated. There we go. Yeah, actually, this is already looking a lot better. I'm just tired, so it seemed like there was too much work to do and I wanted to give up. whew, it's crazy how much I am like not used to talking to actual humans, and when you're talking to people through a mask from over 6 feet away, you're enunciating everything, and you're talking really loud, and that's remarkably tiring. I've been doing that a little bit with friends, but doing it with a nice progression of the public was a new and exciting experience. But everybody was nice. I had one lady absolutely grill me, though, on the ethics of taxidermy. Which, I mean, good for her, good questions, but it's like, there's this firing range. Alright. That side looks pretty good. Alright, yeah, so that I've got pretty clean. You know, you can see I've got that whole arch kind of separate. And now I gotta do that to that side. The sheep's head's going to be the biggest skull I've ever actually cleaned. I'm really excited for that. Because prior to that, I mean, like, I did detail cleaning on a deer skull, but it was found out in nature, and had already been pretty much cleaned off. So I was just like picking little weird crevices out. It wasn't fresh, covered in all the muscle. So like the biggest skull I've had to clean prior to this, I guess a squirrel, maybe an owl. Like, I haven't done a lot. Luckily, you've picked one skull, you've picked them all. This is actually something that I send go-home instructions for anybody who attends my taxidermy class to be able to do with the rat skulls from the rats they mount. Because anybody could do this. All the supplies are available from CVS or Walgreens or your pharmacy of choice. So you just, have a relaxing evening picking bits off your mouse head and soak it in hydrogen peroxide, pick it again, and profit, I guess. Okay, that might be the extent to which I'm going to clean this little friend. So I got the really big cheek muscles off, and I cleaned out the eyes. So now, you can kind of see through... move that eyeball over there. Yeah, so that's a little red blob of a skull, but it's coming along. So I'll just set that guy to the side, and next up, back to giant blob head. The most difficult bones I've worked on, hands down, no question, even a little bit, was cleaning a turtle. Oh my god. And I had a absolutely monstrous group of volunteers work on turtles over a couple of years, and man, every one of them is a hero. Cleaning turtles is the biggest pain because, contrary to what cartoons will tell you, their shell does not come off. It is attached. Well, their shell is their ribs. Just straight up, a shell is made of fused ribs, which, of course, your ribs attach to your spine. So you're digging out bits from their spine, and oh my gosh, turtle shells are just a nightmare. But we had a whole bucket of dead turtles. Hashtag working at a museum. So that was years of work. But boy, the education department loved them. And programming and education. They really could Utilize the heck out of a turtle shell. That is a big old pile of mouse. In vaguely unsurprising news, I came home from this taxidermy gig today and put my bag of supplies down, and one of my cats was just like, "What have you brought me?" I knew you loved me. What is in the bag? Because mouse, again, is a really distinct smell. And, I mean, maybe he was reacting to the sheep head too, I don't know, but it was real funny. I'm like, sorry, bro, this isn't for you, and, yeah. He was 100% ready to eat that mouse. Or these mice, I suppose, plural. Hello, I love you. Why does your bag smell like prey? He's also just a gluttonous cat, so, you know, he'll go for anything. Oh, hey, I got its tongue out. I did one big piece. I think mint tea pairs perfectly well with mouse, especially if you cannot smell the two at the same time. Man, I gotta get it. Tea sounds great. I am so foggy. It's so funny. I've become such a poofter from being at home, not interacting with, you know, humanity. But that's okay. When the going gets tough, the tough clean mouse heads. That's gonna catch on. That's gonna be the next big phrase. I'm looking forward to the sheephead because it's in such great condition. The eyeballs look great, actually, which I'm not used to. I'm used to really sunken, gross, like nightmare eyes. Not that I'm still pulling them out and throwing them away, but it was kind of interesting to, like, have the sheephead sitting next to me the entire time I was there looking at me. And it was like, hey man, what's up? You got pretty eyes. Man, it would be nice to have a domestic colony. Oh well. Someday. Someday when I have a shed. If I am living someplace where I can have a shed, you bet I'm going to have a box of flesh-eating beetles. And I will love them, and they will be my friends. But at the moment, I am shed impaired. I have a deficit of shed. Shedepitus? No. No, there's no way. I'm not going to... I'll walk away from that. Okay, almost got this mandible off. Should probably... Ooh, before I make a big mess, I should probably try to keep these guys separate so I don't forget whose jaw is whose. Not that that matters as much if it's not a scientific piece, I suppose. I left a ton of meat on this jaw. Don't mind me, distracted. A squirrel jaw is big enough I can usually clean it manually and have it be almost pristine by the time I soak it. This one's so little, I'm just worried I'm gonna snap it if I pull too hard. I'm being maybe overcautious cleaning it off. That's okay. I'll just soak it more, get more stuff off. The hydrogen peroxide doesn't actually, like, remove the tissue. It'd be really nice if you could just put it in there and it would dissolve it, but it mostly just softens it up. Where do you buy flesh-eating beetles? I would totally go to Beetles R Us. I need that to be known. Now the internet, people have them. So you find other people who have Dermestids for cleaning purposes, and they'll send you a bag. So, you know, so like sending any other live thing through the mail, there's rules, and you gotta package them up real well, but they'll actually mail you bugs. And it's so funny to call something a flesh-eating beetle, because in your mind it's gonna like skeletalize a cow kind of thing, like, you know, swarms of them moving across fields, eating things, and that's not it at all. They like old, gross, dry stuff. So they do eat that flesh, but they're very picky about what flesh they eat, so you would not be endangering your postal workers. They don't need that. Be nice to your postal carrier. Okay. Oh, that looks a little better. Okay, so I'm actually going to make a little landing zone for this guy. So, yeah, I'll just put that there. So, those two. So that's mouse A. I don't think there's a way to keep... Well, here, I can move the camera. There. So, mouse A. Just keep it off there. Alright, back to mouse B, now that I realized I was derelict in my first cleaning job. The other thing you can do, of course, is just, you know, put a dead thing outside and wait for everybody else to come and eat it. You know, because of course there's, if not Dermestids per se, there's plenty of decomposers and things that specifically look for carrion in any biome you're in pretty much at all. So you could just go set it outside. The problem is you have to still have some sort of very strong hutch or cover so that only little buggos make it in. Because if a coyote comes over and finds this pile of stuff, it'll just crunch through the bones and move on with its day. You know, or even a skunk or a raccoon will ruin the part that you want to keep or spread it around or lose pieces. So you still have to have, like, dead critter-related infrastructure that you build up. Ergo, a shed. Need a creepy death shed. Things I aspire to. Alright. Mandible's getting loose. Oh, and this is reasonably topical as I'm slicing meat. For anybody who was interested in the cooking stream I'd been doing on Sundays, I'm not streaming at all tomorrow. I'm taking a break because if I'm this tired now, there's no point in trying to push for tomorrow. So I will not be streaming at all tomorrow. And then I think I'm going to discontinue doing a cooking-specific stream for now. And instead, I might move to doing, like, 2 days of taxidermy in a row or other odd projects. So, not this week. Again, I am tired. I have to admit when I'm licked and have a nap. But starting next week, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that Sunday slot, but I will not be doing specifically cooking. It was fun, but I need more workshop time. Yeah, come back. That's most of that mandible loose. And my Thursday tinkering is going to stay the same. So anybody who's been enjoying that stuff, that's me too. So I'm going to keep doing that. I can put the jaw over there. Actually, no, let's finish the jaw. I don't want to forget that step, and I did last time. So learn from my mistakes. So these are really young mice, and like those front teeth are so thin and white. It's kind of crazy. Oh, which makes me a little not suspicious, but I'll go suspicious of the sheep head I bought because it's listed as a lamb's head, but there's a lot of staining on the teeth. And I guess I don't know what a commodity sheep eats, but usually you can kind of tell an animal's young by its, pearly white teeth. And they usually stay white for some time, so I was surprised to see how much staining there was on that thing's chompers. So, I mean, I suppose if it's just delicious, then who cares? Delicious sheep's head. I did read recipes about sheep's head. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna cook this one, but you can. They're available at your many a local grocer. And I found recipes that involve using the thing whole, and ones where you get it sliced up and then cook it that way. And I'm just like, this might be too much for me to even attempt. Might be a little too white bread to to go for the sheep head. I would eat the tongue. Tongue is just muscle. That's all right. But tongue and cheeks. But apparently people like absolutely love eating eyeball, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. I'm medium weight, open-minded when it comes to food. I'd give myself a B. Yeah. And actually, I think crucially, I'm more likely to eat it if somebody else made it. So, like, if I'm at some sort of big rad party and someone's like, hey, we made our specialty, freaking sheep's head, this is the best part, I think I'm more likely to believe them because they're experienced, whereas, like, trying to make it at home, like, yeah, I've never had this before and I don't know what how to tell if it's good or bad. I think I'm going to cook this up. That's not me. I had a bad enough time experimenting with trying to cook salmon at home. So, I don't need to get weirder than that. The salmon was fun. I'm much better at getting the skin off the salmon and filleting it than I am cooking it. Skills. Alright, I'm going to call that jaw good enough. Set that aside for now. And get this guy cleaned off. Man, yeah, I did have dinner before starting the stream, but I keep thinking food-related things. Now I'm thinking about Thanksgiving. Taxidermy, it makes me hungry. Every time. Doing the sculpture parts don't. Like, it really is the smushy, weird meat that, like, it just reminds me of food. Because it arguably is food. Ooh, and my hand's going numb. Ugh. I have a little bit of carpal tunnel, so every once in a while my hand's like, you've been holding that position for too long, and your wrist, have decided that you can't do that anymore. Funniest is if I'm riding my moto scooter, because you have to grip the handlebars, obviously, and sometimes I just lose feeling in my hand, and I'm like, oh, that's real bad. Not what you really want to do when you're going, like, pushing 60 miles an hour somewhere on a two-wheeled vehicle. So something that was super convenient at the Park District today, I I had my pick of any of the pre-finished taxidermy they just had, in the Nature Center building. And we decided on having my, table example of a nice finished piece as being this really lovely mink that they had. Because there had been a mink in that pond directly outside this Nature Center, a week before. And so it was great. So people would come in and they're like, oh, what's this? And I'm like, oh, it's a mink. And they're like, oh, where are those native to? I'm like, literally right here. And I'd tell them that story and it just blew people's minds. It was really cute. A bunch of kids were insistent it was a meerkat. Couldn't get past that. I'm like, no, it's totally different looking than a meerkat. Other than the fact that it's a tube mammal. But it was kind of fun to be like, did you know that there's really cool wildlife literally all over the place? It just hides from you most of the time. And in the case of mink, hides from you and then kills a turtle. The entire life of mink. Or ornamental fish. That's the other thing I've heard of them doing. I knew someone who had, beautiful, fancy koi in a really nice outdoor pond that she had spent a ton of time designing and getting installed. And the mink would come up from the nearby river, come to her yard, bite the back of the head on every one of her fish, and leave them dead and nibble, a tablespoon off of it and then leave. And she found the whole thing quite distressing. Which is reasonable. Mink are jerks. But they're weasels, so mustelid bias. Let's see. Oh, I still have... so the very top vertebrae that you have, the one that connects to your skull, or, is right before your skull, is called your atlas. And on both of these mice so far, I've left the atlas on. I'm not trying to preserve that. It's so tiny. I'm not going there. That's madness. But, there's one of them. You can see that little hole in the middle, so that's the little top vertebrae from that other guy. Whew, yeah, my arm keeps going to sleep. Okay, given the fact that my arm is going to sleep, I'm super glad that I'm not trying to do the finish out the bird today. Man. I'll do it next week. I've no known reason why that wouldn't happen. Though the world is full of mystery. There goes that eyeball. Goodbye, eyeball. This is nice. So far, at least, I haven't crunched through anything. So that's the worst, when you're working on something and you just, and there's really no going back. A lot of stuff can be glued, a lot of stuff can be repaired, but if you're working on something this tiny, it's a real bad feeling. Well, that skull's pretty done. Oh, no, I wanted to get the atlas off. Okay, I'm going to get the back of this head off, and then I'm good. I might try to get some brains out of these two. It's almost easier to just let the brains start to soak and then try to get them. But play with that a little bit. Alright, so that's my other atlas embedded in all that shmoo. Boop. There's a nice chunk of brain. Alright, I can get a couple of these pieces out. I need different tweezers. Get some brains. Getting brains. There we go. It's really funny, the critters you expect to have proportionally large brains and the ones you don't. Like, weasels are really seen as, like, clever. They got weird tiny little brains. And, like, opossums have laughably tiny brains. They practically have nothing holding their, like, eyeballs. It's basically a central thing that their eyeballs connect to, and then it goes back into their spine. It's so funny. But, like, mice have real big brains, and there's been lots of studies about, you know, brain mass, and so this probably correlates more to the fact that they're so social. You need a lot of brain to figure out, you know, why your neighbor's doing whatever it is they're doing. And even then, sometimes it's a mystery. Whereas if you're just really clever at, like, eating turtles, I suppose you don't need as much brain to be good at that. That's not bad. Okay, so I'm going to get another little corner of paper. Set that guy over there. So that's 2 little heads. I might need to... Yeah, let me clean up my workspace here a little bit. This is like a lot of mouse bits. We've hit excessive mouse bits and I still have a whole head to go. I just fold that over. Haha! Lack of mouse bits. What am I going to do with the heads? I actually don't have a really strong plan. I mean, I'm not going to turn down a perfectly good head. So, there's that. So I'll clean them up, and then we'll kind of go from there. Because these have absolutely 0 scientific value. They're feeder mice. So, you know, I didn't take any data. I don't have anything like that. But... but yeah, I basically, they're just kind of fun to have, and so I might do, like, I don't know, weird art at some point. They basically become almost like a crafting material. Same thing with the sheep head. I've seen some really cool stuff online where people take, like, dried, you know, once the skull is totally clean and dry and degreased, and, like, carve it. Or I bedazzle it. You just cover it in sequins. You know, all sorts of weird stuff like that. So I think these guys might end up as some sort of really strange art piece. So, you don't know. Oh, and I found a really nice, fresh, dead cicada yesterday. And so that's another one I'm going to mount, and that actually has data, so that one I'm going to treat more like a scientific specimen, because why not? Whereas something like this, maybe I'll dye it blue. I have no idea. Like, at this point, it's just a commodity critter. So, kind of get weird. Why not get weird? That's a big old tendon. Ew. Let go, big tendon. So my plan, after I get these 3 heads cleaned out, I'll show you guys, they're going to go in the hydrogen peroxide, and then I'll show you the cool glass eyes and stuff that I have. Yeah, maybe it's a weird thing to see right before bed, but welcome. I'm glad you're here. It's amazingly, like, calm but weird to watch stuff like this get cleaned out. So yeah, science and tech before bed. It'll give you strange dreams, but I hope they're good strange dreams. Good and also strange. Yeah, I've almost got this guy. This one's tongue is hanging right out. Blah. You guys see that? Mouse tongue, blah. Man, the sheep's tongue is really big. Like, that's not surprising. Sheep's tongue is one of the things you actually eat, so it's a nice, nice juicy cut. But sticking out being weird. Come to my channel for all your weird dream needs. Get those weird dreams in the hopper. Dream of tiny mouse skulls. Beautiful tiny mouse skulls, possibly covered in sequins. I'd have to get very small sequins to bedazzle a mouse skull. Seems doable. I mean, there's all sorts of weird things. You can grow, like, crystals on bone. Get really strange. Stuff that, of course, I never did at the museum. You know, everything I worked on at the museum, even if it didn't have data, it was very straight-laced. You know, we were being very science, education. But with these things, meh. Get kind of weird. But only kind of weird. You don't want to get all the weird. Weird in moderation. Come on, Mandible. Off you go. We had a bunch of models of skulls out that people could touch while they were watching me do taxidermy today at the Park District. And it's funny how much people don't know how to assemble a skull. Which, okay, fine. Why would that be a common skill? Okay, yes. But also, it's funny because there's only two pieces, right? It's a puzzle with two pieces, and, you know, you can kind of identify how it goes together. But getting the jawbone up inside the thing where your eye is feels weird. You clipped the mouse tongue. Oh, Dave, you're a hero. Thank you. Thank you for understanding my needs on this channel. There we go. Got that off. All right. The third and final mouse mandible has come off. We're moving right along. Yeah, because I want these guys cooking. I don't need these sitting around in my freezer. So if I'm starting this project tonight, I want these done. The sheep is going to take me forever. Cleaning that sheep skull is going to be, I believe the technical term is gnarly. It'll be a gnarly project. But then I get a sheep skull. So, not a ram. Obviously, you know, food sheep or food lambs don't have horns on them yet. And I'm sure even if they did, if they're selling at the grocery store, they probably saw the horns off. But the grocery store is great, though. Like, I had 6 heads to choose from. It was just a bin of them in the big deli thing. And I was like, ooh, I'll have that one. Thank you. So what I'm saying is basically if I ever run out of stuff, I'm just going to get more sheep heads. Just piles of them. I can build a throne of skulls. That's what it is. Blood for the blood god and sheep skulls for his throne. Some sort of furry skulls for his throne. So, yeah, the furry dark future is its sheep skulls. Dave, you have to run that game now. We need a Warhammer 40k furry setting. P.S. Don't do that, oh my god. That's a bad idea, and it should not ever happen. Thank you, Sheridan Mom. You know, I got simple needs. Some people need fancy things. I'm pretty happy if I just get a sheep head. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and guess that the novelty is going to wear off on that at some point, but I don't know, maybe not. Ooh, the far furry future. Dave, do not rise to that challenge. That is a bad challenge, and you have better things to do. Alright. Whew, yeah, I'm definitely continuing to be tired. My skill at cleaning these mandibles has, like, dropped. What? Yeah, I say that and I got a really big piece off. I do that a lot. Like, as soon as I say I'm done with something, I'm like, oh, except for this thing I just did, which was fabulous. I can see his little teeth. I hadn't really gotten nice clean teeth yet. Okay, once I get this picked off, I'll see if you guys can see his molars. More or less got those exposed. Mouse teeth are really buried because they just have so much cheek going on and whatever, but okay, let's see. The camera can figure this out. Because I thought I had autofocus off. Here, let me double check something real quick. Let me play with this source. Because hypothetically, configure video. Oh, there we go. Check that out. Yeah, okay, actually I'm really happy with that. I gotta find the focus. But this little line here, wow, there's a lot of shmoo on that pokey thing. But there, if I turn it, you can see it. These little molars. Man, finding that focus. There it is. Oh yeah, perfect. Now you can see a whole line of like 3 perfect little molars. Boom, boom, boom. So it's nice when those haven't fallen out. Sometimes you lose them, but they look really good. You can see his, giant rodent-y incisors. So that's cool. So this, okay, I think I need to back this off a little bit, but I'm actually really happy having that zoomed. Let me play with this one moment. Configure video. My mouse is covered in Saran, if anybody's wondering how I'm playing with my computer in this particular instance. Okay, there. Hopefully you guys can see a little more detail. I've got the focus distance a little tighter. Because I think it's neat to see the detail. I hope you guys too. Okay. Okay. I think I'm going to let that go for now. And on to the skull. Alright, Baptuve, well thank you for stopping by. I might be doing these earlier in the day for you in the future, so if you follow me, hopefully I'll be able to catch you when it's not 3 in the morning and you're tired, and I'll give you less weird dreams, although I cannot guarantee 0 weird dreams. Have a good night. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I have a number of friends in England, so doing streams that are more on GMT would be good. So I was kind of thinking maybe like a Tuesday midday taxidermy thing, play with that. The Sunday thing might be taxidermy too. I don't know. I haven't. Schedules, they're hard. Decision making right now. Decision making is like not a thing. My brain is gone. I have a tired. Ooh, that was a good bit. He's starting to dry out, and so some of the pieces are kind of ripping like jerky. I don't know how often you guys rip jerky, but it's very satisfying. Newest competition, jerky ripping. You know, I use allusions to jerky all the time when I'm doing prep. I actually don't remember the last time I ate jerky. I like it, it's fine, but, like, I associate it with car trips. So, presumably, some car trip recently. Okay. Alright. Whew. Getting close. This is good. So much to pick off. Yeah, it's funny. The other specimens, I didn't notice their teeth as much. This one has really prominent teeth. Which, you know... Let's see. I should get my poking stick out. Brought it. So, obviously, front teeth. And then you got these perfect little parallel lines of the back molars that would line up with those other molars that I was pointing out. So, there's a weird little palate. I guess it's not weird. All palates are weird. So, oh, there's the other eyeball. Does not look like anything. These are albino mice because they're, you know, just the mass-produced feeder mice, so the eyeballs are red. If they're wild mice, they're black, and they're much easier to see when I unceremoniously pull them out of their skulls. Cool thing about working with feeder mice is I'm much less likely to come across parasites. Because, like, that's not my favorite. Usually don't come across parasites in heads. They're usually, like, intestinal gut things. But I don't need that. That's not fun. I passed up getting a skunk off the highway today. I do have the license where I'm legal to do that. I could have gone back and grabbed the skunk. And I just wasn't ready to commit to that level of smell control. I was just like, I don't know, I'm not there. So at some point I will get a skunk, and it'll be rad. And I just wasn't ready. But the next skunk I see will be my skunk. Maybe. And part of it's just hard to pick up stuff off the highway because, like, you know, cars go fast. But I could probably get it safely. Actually, I have to go back to Humboldt Park. I was in Humboldt Park, Chicago the other day buying art supplies. Oh, wow, a whole, like, chunk of a brain just came attached to that. So, you know how I mentioned that brains are lame? There it is. Boom. It's just kind of pink. Anyway. But I was in Humboldt Park, and there was a road-killed squirrel, and I went to go pick it up because it was just at a park, and it was really easy to get to, and it was so far gone. It was just soupy, and so I kind of chucked it into a wild area, hoping that, you know, natural decomposers would get it. And I've been kind of to go back and see if it's cleaned up and I could maybe get, you know, a nice skull out of it or something, and I just haven't made it back. So, perhaps tomorrow. Take a leisurely drive down to Humboldt Park and literally beat about the bushes looking for dead stuff. My luck, though, okay, I already probably found it and went, ooh, it's extra soupy. Okay. Whoop, back. So that guy's pretty good. That's a nice little skull. Yeah, I'm glad I improved this focus. I mean, I hope you guys are too. Oh yeah, no, not weird at all. Pseudonym, yes, my life. Totally standard. But yeah, so that's a nice little mouse skull. Obviously, there's juicy bits here and there, but I got the vast majority off of this. Okay, so... Oh. Ow. Yeah, my hands keep going numb. Do I care if these get commingled? I'm leaning towards no. I'm leaning towards putting them all in one hydrogen peroxide bath and not worrying about it, because I don't have to worry about losing the data. They don't have any. So I'm not, even though that's like terrible practice for, you know, the science. For this, I basically am just lining up whatever mandible I feel like, and I've got a 1 out of 3 chance to get it right, and it'll probably be fine. So I think I might just dump all these guys together and move on with my day. It's a little loose. There's a bone on the back of the head on this guy that's a little loose, but as far as I know, it didn't break a zygomatic arch, so I'm happy. So I'm gonna take my gloves off. Whew. Alright. So, let's put that there. Yep, these guys are all going in, so bloop, 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 and bloop. Alright, so I have jar heads. And so this is fun. For anybody who's interested in chemistry, this is fun. So I've got hydrogen peroxide. It's just, you know, the stuff you get from the pharmacy. You put it on your skin knee. So this is meant for as a topical antiseptic solution. Hydrogen peroxide is fun. Hydrogen peroxide is literally hydrogen and oxygen as a little molecule, as much as hydrogen dioxide, which is water. Hydrogen peroxide has just one, and so it's when hydrogen peroxide comes in contact with oxygen-laden blood, for example, it rips the extra oxygen molecules out of the organic tissues and bonds it to its single oxygen molecule, thus creating O2, which is the air we breathe, so that bubbles away, so that's why it fizzes, and it leaves behind water. So you have H2O2 and O2 from combining hydrogen peroxide and organic stuff. So that's your very, very, very basic version of the chemistry. But it basically is ripping apart organic stuff. So when you put it on your knee, it's actually tearing apart the top layer of the tissue of your knee. But this stuff is... let me see what it says on here. It says on the back. 3%. So you can see this bit right here. So it's only 3% peroxide, so it gets used up really fast, and so thus it doesn't digest your entire knee. Hooray. But for this, it's going to change color. So, you know, oxygenated blood is red. When it bonds with the oxygen that's in the blood, it turns it white. So check this out. It is cool chemistry. And so suddenly it's all fizzy. And, hey, Steph. Okay, so I just put a bunch of mouse skulls in hydrogen peroxide. So that's where you're at. So you guys can see the fizzing. The fizzing is O2, so that's just oxygen coming out of here. it's creating a solution of water, but it's going to take a while to process, and all of those bright red little skulls just turned white. Or mostly white. So even like right now, obviously they're covered in bubbles. Come here, buddy. You know, so it's not, here, I can rinse that off. So you can see how it's not 100% white yet, but it's way whiter than it had been. I love that. And so the longer it's in here, the more the hydrogen peroxide can act on the organic tissue, so it turns everything whitish and softens it up because it's kind of ruining it, and starts the bleaching process. So these guys, I'm just going to let them cook. So that is 3 mouse heads cooking away. So not here. I hope that answered your question. Your timing was delightful. Not sure how else to describe that. So, alright, so that I'm going to set aside. So now I'm going to swap what I'm working on here, and I'll show you guys all my glass eyes. So actually, in that sense, you arrived at a great time, because I'm going to show off the glass eyes I got for my main project. I'm not working on the bird tonight. Put a little more hydrogen peroxide in there. I'm not working on the bird tonight. I'm too tired. I just don't want to screw it up. So, not doing it. Okay. So, we'll just do a swap. So all my mouse bits go away into the gross mouse bag, because I have a gross mouse bag. Who doesn't have a bag of headless mice just ready to help tidy their area? And, like, look, it has my name on it. Save for Anna Marie. Friends. This is what friends are for. Okay. So get those guys out of the way. So this is a nominally clean workspace. Cool. So, I'm going to take a second to stretch. Ow. I think I was sitting on a table all day skinning mice. Who does that? Oh. Alright. Man, yeah, ooh. Anyway. Eyeballs. I was going to show you beautiful eyeballs. I just have to find where I put them. Okay, so these are the eyes. I bought a couple of different eyes for the bird project, because they're different sizes and they're different colors. So these are the ones I'm going to go with. I love these. The bird's natural eyes were like a dark brown, and so I don't know how much this is going to come through, but there is a pupil. You can just barely tell there's a darker center to this dark brown. And so I have 2 pairs of these, and so these are going to be probably the eyes I use. And they're 7mm, which should be pretty much perfect. I did buy a set of 8mm eyes. So you can see they're just slightly bigger, and I played with some colors. Many birds have kind of yellow or orange or red eyes, so I kind of went for those. And then I also bought an orange set of eyes that was the 7mm. So I now have a bunch of weird googly eyes. Oh yeah, no, chinchillas also have that cool deep color. But yeah, so these are made of glass. They're actually very nice. Like, touching them is very satisfying. They have that heavy, like, quality feel. Not, obviously right now they're just adhered to this little piece of cardboard. But when you take them off, they kaplink. They're nice little things. And so these eyes, I'm actually going to embed in clay. I'll fill the bird's skull with clay and embed the eyes in that, and make sure, they're faced the right direction and things like that. So this is what I had been planning on working on today, and I don't have the energy for it. So I will be doing this on a different day. But I do have the tools to do it. And then I have backup eyes. So when I get other weird small birds, probably, I have cool eyeballs. They do make plastic taxidermy eyes, but why would you do that? Go for quality. So those are those. Alright, then for my next trick, I'm planning on pulling out a sheep head. I'll do it again. Oof. Okay. Let's get my gloves back on. I usually don't reuse gloves, but I don't have a lot that fit me right now, so it's not medicine, so I can get away with it. Don't tell my lab. I always told my lab volunteers that they had to have fresh gloves. So, And you know what? I was right. Wow, I might just need new gloves just because these are not going on very easily. Because they're not supposed to. And so one of the early questions when people were first getting on is, I'm wearing gloves this week. How unusual. I tend to wear gloves when I'm working on mammals. I am a mammal. Oh yeah, no, eyeballs would be another great stocking stuffer. But I'm a mammal, so I can get the same diseases that mammals have, generally speaking. And so I care a little bit more. There's just a few more illnesses I could potentially pick up. But crucially, with these specimens I've been working on tonight, they smell funny. And I don't really need my hands to smell bad. So why not wear the gloves? And I'm not doing anything really delicate where I feel like I would need that extra level of tactile feedback. So I do have gloves on today. Alright. So, again, this is gross. Not that you guys haven't been seeing gross stuff on my feed, but it is an entire skinned head of a sheep. So, be ready. So, and like, I got it at the supermarket, so yay, $6.99, sheep head. Very happy about that. It's so funny how disarming it is to when people see this thing and they're like, oh, gross, and I'm like, I got it for $6.99 at the grocery store, and they're like, I somehow feel like I can't be as disgusted. You got it for $6.99, and it's really funny. I might need to raise my camera. Because, like, you're just looking at... Oh, there's a little bit... Ooh. I think I need to move my camera. This is not going to work. I think... Yeah, I've got a little bit of plastic on here. Let me see if I can pick it up. And just adjust. Oh, there. That's a good view. This is the cinema you guys are coming here for. Alright. So... This is a sheep head. A big, fatty, glorious sheep's head. So again, $6.99, grocery store. For the whole thing, because obviously it's a really cheap cut of meat, because you can't eat most of it. If you were to cook it up, the eyeballs are apparently something particularly delicious. People talked about that when you roast it or stew it. The cheek muscles are apparently majorly delicious. That tongue, again, blah, it's a very tongue night. It has a cut in it. I didn't do that. It came that way from the butcher. Tongue is delicious. So, and just anything that you are, cooking bones to get, stock out of is delicious. So, that's what this guy is about. Oh, he's gotten a little sticky from being out all day. Don't we all? Okay. So this guy, I'm going to work on this guy exactly the same as I was with the mice, where my goal is to get the bottom mandible off and then remove the tongue and the eyes and the big muscle groups. So let's start with this whole disgusting realm. Move that out of the way. That's not doing me any good. Move my Mises a bit more. Oh yeah, no, this guy's great. When I was saying, I thought the teeth were really stained. Like, can you see how black they are in there? Like, I was surprised. Usually I think of something, if it's going to be called a lamb, I think of it as being young, and I'd imagine the teeth would be cleaner. But maybe what they eat is just really horrible. I guess I don't know a lot about the life of a food lamb. Let me see if I can move the camera back a little bit. You know what? Actually, no. We'll let it be a little fuzzy. I think that's okay. And then I can move it up here to show you guys cool details. They'll give me a shout out if you do want to see anything specific while I'm on this. So, let's see. This would be ideal. I don't yet have a really good skinning knife. I just have these little scalpels, which is not ideal. You really want a big, resharpenable knife. Ooh, I need a paper towel. I can already see the oozing. Oh, he's so fatty. Look at all this. This is like all fat. Okay. Yeah, additional stocking stuffer, skinning knife. I'd like to think shopping for me is fun. But... I also just noticed I got up to 48 followers, so Wanton Scriber, thank you for following, and then our dear friend from France had also followed me. I hadn't noticed before they left, though. But my goal is 50, so hopefully I get two more followers tonight. That would be pretty rad. Alright. Oh wow, there's a really big, unsurprisingly, really big tendon back here. So sheep, of course, are, you know, herbivores and champions at chewing everything. So their cheeks are just these absolute monstrous factories for breaking down plant matter. They're honestly, sheep are pretty cool. From a technical point of view. Most sheep I've met personally are kind of ding-dongs. But, you know. Oh wow, yeah, that's just a huge muscle back here. Where's my... Oh, that's nice. So you can see this, let me slide that up a little closer. All this great connective tissue that would be, or disconnective tissue. Fascia is a term for this. Fascia is the stuff between two groups of muscle, or muscle in your bone, or muscle in your skin, so that it can actually slide and move. So connective tissue connects things. Disconnective tissue makes things sure they don't, you know, be connected. And so the fascia is there to make sure that your muscles are able to actually move around and do stuff. So that, I think, actually might have been connective tissue, because that would have been a hard area. But, like, up against your skin, it's fascia, because it's disconnective tissue, so it can move around under your skin. Terminology, it's weird. Oh, the sheep have this weird, like, almost looks like hair on the inside of their mouth. I don't know enough about sheep to know exactly what this is. But little cilia? I don't know. It's kind of gross. But it's basically, the inside of their mouth is textured. Like, the inside of my mouth is smooth. I don't know about you guys. And apparently that's not true for sheep. I did not know that. Ooh, that was a nice big... Oh, there we go. Now I'm starting to get some real progress. If I can just lift this whole thing off, this will probably cause his jaw to just fall off. Their jaw. This one, there's no way I could know it's sex. Oh, hey! There's complimentary grass. So that's nice. This is a grass-fed commodity animal. So, hey. It lived its life in a pasture. It's kind of funny. Usually you can't know, you know, some meat will be labeled grass-fed or pasture-raised or whatever like that, and you hypothetically could go to the manufacturing facility and find out. But if you're looking at its head and it's got grass in its teeth, it's alright. Yeah. Good feels there. Alright. I've almost got this whole muscle lifted off. That's coming along really, really nicely. And this guy is so big, I can just, like, wail on it with my scalpel, and I'm not worried about particularly damaging it. Like, they'll probably be little nicks, I guess, but they're going to be so minor. Unlike the mouse, where it had to be so slow and careful. Like, sheep literally run into things with their heads. It's fine. Recreationally. Okay, I'm gonna get this whole big muscle off. Maybe? Let's see. Yeah, I can tell my scalpel's getting dull. This is really not what scalpels are for, so kind of abusing my hardware a little bit, but it's okay. Get as much use as I can out of this single blade. Whew. There we go. Yeah, so that's like a good chunk of stir fry. That would have been a lot of food. So, blap. I got nice in there. That was a lot. That was the vast majority of that cheek. What a difference from a rodent, too. Like, his zygomatic arch is this little teensy, like, turn this a little bit, right back here, whereas on a mouse, it's like the whole side of their face. So that's kind of cool. Oh, it's got hair inside its ear. Gross. This, that's its ear. So back in the day, that's the tube that would have attached to the big, structure outside of its head. Let's get some of this neck off. Wow, this is a fatty critter. Like, this is just like, that's all fat. That's kind of excessive. I mean, humans love fatty food. We raise our animals to hold extra fat. So their, wild kindred usually are nowhere near as fat as the ones we've bred, but it's still weird. Yeah, this guy's gonna just take me a while. There's just so much. There's a lot of critter here. My tweezers again. Where did I put those? Are they under the head? Oh, yeah. Yeah, this specimen's large enough I can lose my tweezers under it. Yes, I am. This one I'll probably also put in hydrogen peroxide to some amount. Luckily, hydrogen peroxide is pretty cheap, so I can fill a bucket with it, and it's fine. There's other ways to degrease a skull this big, so I am going to do a little more research before I commit to that. Because this is just the bones themselves are so dense. I don't know if the hydrogen peroxide would penetrate or not, so I actually need to do more research. I haven't ever worked with any skull, I should say, this big. So I'll have to play with it. And honestly, I'll probably just let it sit out on my balcony or on a window a lot. Sunlight is just horrible. Sunlight's terrible for you. And it breaks apart a lot of structures too. So even if it's just out in the sun, that'll bleach it and help a good bit. Oh, there's so much fat. You're so fatty. Why are you keeping so much fat behind your eye? Like, okay, this is weird. There's just, what is this? Look at all this. It's like pasty. I think this is just pure fat between its ear and its eyeball. I guess it's just like padding. Maybe you don't want too much cold air to come in through your ear so it keeps your brain warm. That's another one I need to do more research. I actually don't know the answer to that question, but I find it funny. So much learning to do. And since it's a sheep, there's probably an answer. Humans have had a long time to care about sheep. Oh, this is so gross. I don't know what... Ugh. Ugh. Well, I'm disgusted. I don't know what this is, but it's nasty, and there's a lot of it. Wow. Yeah, no, I need to do some research. What is all this white? It looks like it's full of like rubber sealant, which clearly it's not, but gross. Ugh. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's just pure fat that it's stored behind its eye. Little sheepy, why do you have so much fat stored behind your eye? Actually, you know what? Oh, okay. Alright, as I stick my finger in his head. Alright, so this is my mysterious cavity full of horrible white shmoo. You can see it coming out the other side there. But this would be a major grinding area when it's eating. Can I move that jaw? A little bit. But the jawbone comes up through there, so maybe that's literally like thick lubricated paddings as it's grind to make sure it doesn't rub through its own head. I don't know. That's mysterious. But yeah, this area here, you can see the jawbone's coming up here and goes behind the zygomatic arch. So maybe they just have extra slippery material there so they can chew their entire life and not grind through their own head. I do not know. I will have to look that up. But it's fun to speculate. Welcome to the science and technology category as we wildly speculate. Yeah, no, Clara, your timing is great. This is a sheep. Yeah, this is the sheep. So I've almost got this side of the jaw loose. I'm happy to say, too, this doesn't smell as bad as I thought. Like, for anybody who's ever eaten lamb, you know how, like, all lamb has that lamb taste? There's a lamb smell. It's you know, that's just kind of what they do. But it's not too bad. I'll put my tweet it. There we go. Oh, that white stuff's so gross. So gross. It is delicious, but there is a taste. I'm just saying, it's a very distinct lamb funk. And if you are my beloved mother-in-law, she will tell you it's not delicious. But luckily, we have agreed to disagree. I really want this jaw off. Come on, man. Blap. I'm going to have to cut. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to pause digging around on its cheek for a second, and I have to deal with this under area. Wow, that's a lot of gross. Let go. So gross. So gross. Oh, there's a dangly bit. Oh, mother-in-laws who are wrong about lamb. Life is full of trial. All right, let's this guy here. I'm trying to get kind of along the jawbone here and get this, the whole palate out, the whole lower palate. Alright, put you there. You are not helping me at this point. Go away. Blap. Oh, hey, this is a great point of view. So, teeth, right? We've got these really fabulous little lower teeth. But if you look at the top here, there's nothing. It's like a weird little rubbery lip thing. They do not have upper front teeth. There are no incisors here. There's not supposed to be. Same thing with deer. Deer don't have teeth here. And so they basically have these bottom teeth that push against this hard rubbery area where they just grab their full food and yank. So they're not neatly clipping as much as they are tearing, like over and over again. So they just don't even have teeth here, where we have the incisors so that when we bite into an apple, you know, you get that nice slice, you know, or rodents, you know, they get that nice slice when they bite. But a lot of grazing animals don't bother with that. They want to go faster than that. And so they just have this weird rubbery hard upper jaw bit that they rip their plants out, and then all the business happens in the back with their molars. So it's always funny looking. And that was great when I was at the nature center today, because we dug around until I found a deer skull, because I wanted people to be able to see that up close. So I had I think it was a real one. I think it was a I had a mixture of casts and actual skulls, and I believe that one was real. And so people got to look at it, and I'm like, "Do you ever notice they don't have upper front teeth?" And everybody's like, "No, I had no idea." And then we science together, and it's beautiful. We are all friends in science. Oh, that's a sound. Anyway. Blah, blah, blah. More weird tongue. Blah. Alright. I've almost got this soft lower part out. It's hard to see through here. Gross. Oh, there's a sound. There we go. Yep. Good, good. Pip, pip. Okay. Let me flip this around a little bit. Yeah, tonight's just butchery. This is about the level of finesse that I really feel like I have, so this has been really perfect. The mice were a bit of a trial. This is just fun. This is just... I'm tired. What am I going to do? I'm going to hack apart a sheep head. No. We all have our coping mechanisms. Okay. I'm getting around this side of the jaw is starting to come pretty loose. I can feel it wobble quite a bit. Oh man, big old trachea. Ah, trachea. Oh, hey, okay, that's good. I just got a lot of this busted through. Alright, well, I've got one side of it pretty much loose, so I gotta get the other side, you know, also loose. Sorry, I made a weird noise. I don't think it shows up on camera. I managed to put my forearm against the side of its cheek. It was wet and cold. Yes, I will be taking a shower after this. Why do you wonder? So gross. It came off really nice. This is cool. I'm glad I bought this. It's a fun thing to try. It's really funny when I am doing prep in the front of the public and people aren't necessarily expecting it, you know, so I get people of all ages coming around the corner going, oh, you know, what's happening? And the question that I've gotten semi-regularly from school groups is I'll be talking to, you know, pretty small kids, and they'll be like, why is that animal full of meat? I'm like, oh, Pumpkin, let me tell you about the world. That happens somewhat regularly, where kids do not understand why this sheep head is covered in meat. Or, you know, usually it was a squirrel or a bird. There wasn't a lot of sheep in the lab, but... And I did have a couple kids declare right at that moment that they were becoming vegetarian. I'm like, go you, little man. Whatever. We'll see how long that lasts, but I'm sure, you know, why not become a vegetarian at 3? Ooh, that was a good dangly disgusting piece. Yay. This side, I managed to cleave it much closer to the bone, so you can see that's this nice shiny bone as opposed to this side, which is a little meatier, and I'm much happier with it. So I have learned a thing. I definitely want to do that more if I can possibly help it, because it's working in my favor. Hooray, learning! Sheep are odd-toed ungulates, right? I never remember. Ungulates are generally things with cloven hooves, or with hooves, broadly speaking, that, you know, chew on grass. I think they're odd-toed, but... And it literally is odd or even, so how many toes do they have? I haven't bothered a sheep foot recently enough to tell you how many toes they have. I think 2, so maybe they're even-toed ungulates. And as many people know, one of the animals I like the least on the world are horses, in part because their single giant toe per leg freaks me out. Like, bleh, that's so gross. It's just one toe. Every leg ends in one humongous single toe with one big nail on it that we refer to as hooves, and it's bleh. It just squigs me out. They used to have normal feet, but no, they evolved to have one giant toe. Horses are also just big old bags of guts. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine today who leases a horse, and her horse became seriously ill with a condition called colic, which is effectively his insides got twisted. And, like, you can actually, like, twist off part of the intestines and, you know, die. The horse is okay. It worked out. But it's, you know, a major scary illness, and, because they're just a humongous bag of guts, and you can have that happen. It's just like, ugh, that's gross. But she loves that horse, so I actually am glad he's okay. That is a reminder not to let randos feed horses fudge and other such weird garbage. Okay. Yeah, this side I'm taking at a completely different... So this side I kind of just ripped a big dude off of it. This side I've been slicing this nice thing, so I've got this beautiful bone already exposed here, but it's going much, 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 much slower. So it's just fine. Like, this is fun because I haven't done one of these before, so I am literally just trying different things to see kind of what works. And it's not even that one is necessarily better than the other. It's just different. That's fun. If you're gonna buy a sheep head, you need to enjoy it. Most people enjoy it by eating it. So. I don't know if you noticed when this was facing at the camera, he's missing a tooth. I didn't do that. That came that way, so I'm not sure what that story is. I'm kind of assuming that's a post-mortem, you know, butcher's floor injury, that I do not know. It's kind of weird. Ooh, that was a weird sound. Blah. Okay, that's pretty loose. I have made very good progress on this jaw. I All right, so my kind of plan for the wrap up of this evening is I'm going to get this mandible off. I will. And then I'll probably wrap up. But I'm really happy with this. So, this is a fun project. I'll get back to hard things next week. I needed a break. This is delightful. Let's see. It was funny in the lab when I would give people big weird projects similar to this. Obviously, I never did a sheep head, but weird stuff. And there's so much joy when you're doing the big muscle groups and big easy parts, and people have so much fun. And it's sort of unfair because you do the fun easy parts first, and then it gets progressively fiddlier and tougher. So you get your reward first, and then you get all your hard work second. But it's okay. People were good eggs about it. I'm gonna put my there. Oh, they go so much faster when I'm able to lift this. Man, that's great. Whew. Delightful. Oh, and for anybody who wasn't here for the announcement, I am canceling I'm not doing a stream tomorrow. Usually I do a Sunday afternoon stream. Because I've been so tired, I'm not pushing it. I just need to take the day off. So I won't be doing another stream tomorrow afternoon. So I'll be back on Thursday as usual for my tinkering. And then next Saturday we'll get back to working on taxidermy. But I might add a new taxidermy specific stream. Possibly in that Sunday afternoon spot. In lieu of the old cooking stream that I was doing, possibly a weekday. I haven't really settled on that, but opinions are always welcome. But tomorrow, I'm going to just mostly sleep. It'll be hopefully glorious. Actually, probably sleep, read a book, and play Animal Crossing. That's coming off. That's looking good. Let's see. How much of that did I... Yeah. So the weird fat area is like right here. So I'm getting close to that strangeness. Yeah, that's just a huge muscle. That's again, nice big chunk of food that I'm totally not going to eat because I've been letting this sit on a table all day. Oh, wellsies. Next time, the next sheep head I buy, I will probably own a skinning knife at that point, so I'll be able to get the tissue off a little faster, and I will plan on stewing the good edible bits. Because I don't like the idea of wasting food, but I also have to accept certain limits here. So, let's see. Okay, I'm back down by this guy's ear. So again, for anybody who didn't see the first ear. So this little tube would have attached to the whole structure coming out for the adorable little lammy ear, which is now gone. much of this can I get out? Okay, so I might have to split this up. It's such a big piece of meat at this point that I kind of can't see past it. It's pretty gross. This is gross. This is gross, you guys. Okay, there's his little zygomatic arch. Let me just cut straight down here. I can do the detail work later. I just need this off. This reminds me, my favorite barbecue place in Chicago, today was their last day. I went and stopped there for my birthday, so at least I got to appreciate them this year, but Fat Willie's Rib Shack on Western Avenue is gone. That is sad. They were really good. Alright, lap. That was a big chunk. Oh, that looks so good. That looks real good. I mean, you know what I mean. Okay. Gross. This is gross. Blah. There's that tongue again. Let's see. Okay, let me get the rest of this from around the ear, and that should more or less release this jaw, I think. Possibly less. You know, I might need to just purchase a larger version of these particular tweezers. I love them, and they're really, I mean, this is such a macro project, and these are micros. More stocking stuffers. Okay. Right around the ear. Did I take off the ear on the other side? No, not really. So I might leave that for right now. It's just so much to get off. Like, it takes a lot of effort and weird structures to, like, be an animal. You know? We giant vertebrates are really complicated thingies. There's just a lot here. Like, all of this structure controlled an ear once. That's crazy. It takes a lot to have an ear that can swivel around and, you know, be used for socialing signals, you know, for, like, emotional state and all sorts of whatever. They're complicated things. Mammals are cool. Okay, I got that stuff loose. That's good. Yeah, and that weird white slime stuffing whatever garbage is on this side too. Because of course it is. It's bilaterally symmetrical. Our right side is more or less the same as our left side, but it's still nasty. I kind of wish it wasn't there. Oh well. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up this stuff and figure out what purpose it serves, because that's just nasty. I feel like I know enough people who live in Wisconsin that somebody's gonna have an answer to that. For those who don't know, Wisconsin in the United States has one of the biggest like agricultural schools anywhere, so if you want to know agricultural facts, usually focused around cows, but not exclusively. You go to someone who went to school in Wisconsin. Oh, my scalpel is so dull at this point. This is really funny. I am abusing this piece of hardware to a really amusing point. Okay, almost got that top of the jaw off. Okay, blap. That makes a huge difference. So I got that whole chamber cleared out. That's gross. It's like spitty. Wow, it looks like it's got a second tongue. I don't know what that is. I don't know beans about sheep. This is weird. I have learned today that sheep are kind of strange. Well, I've definitely got this jaw on the way out. Like, it's opening really wide because there's not a lot holding it in place, so that's good. So I've almost reached my goal for the night, getting this guy out. I wonder if I can just... Oh yeah, we've hit scissor down at this point. Let's see. Alright. Big scissors. Oh yeah, this is the right tool. Ha ha ha. Right tool for the right job. Because now I'm just trying to get through tendons, and for that, the scissors are absolutely exquisite. So... Okay. Almost. I've almost got it. Sliding around in a very grim way, honestly. But... Alright. That's it. One side of the jaw. This other side. What do I got going on here? Oh, I have a ton left in here. Hold on. Alright. Ha ha! I got it. Move that out of the way. Flap. Boom. So check it out. Lower jaw. Finally got this free, so I got the whole mandible out. Pretty happy with that. It's real big. So I was whinging before that I wasn't sure if this was really a young animal because its teeth were so dirty. And I still do wonder about that, but I will tell you they're freaky sharp. So these guys back here are real sharp, which if you're a sheep and you're eating a lot of really fibrous grass and shrubs and things is a great type of tooth to have. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, and you can really see like the side that I got closer to the bone already looks way nicer than this one. It's all meaty. So I'm going to have to go back and do that. And then if you guys are ready for the disgusting other part of the head to come back into view, because it's like super grody. Blah. Tongue. Big, knobbly, gross, cheapy tongue. Oh, I can feel the hyoid. Okay, so here's a cool fact. Most mammals, I believe including us, if I recall correctly, you have a bone that's not attached to any other bones in your palate that controls your tongue. It kind of supports and controls your tongue. And I can feel it in this little sheepy. Um, and that's very weird. That's weird. Okay. So, I don't think I can just cut this all loose right now because that extra stuff is in there. Yeah, wow, it almost feels like there's two. I don't know anything about sheep. This is so cool. Yeah, it feels like it has two hyoids. Okay, no, I gotta go digging. I'm tired and I want to go to bed, but I'm still gonna dig this out because I'm really curious. Blab. Let's see. You flip this around to the pointy side. This is cool. My scissors have a pointy side and a blunt side, so, you know, I can flip them over and it pokes through or it doesn't. There. It's a nice design. So this actually, hyoids I'm familiar with don't attach to anything. This thing seems to. What on earth is this bone? I don't know anything about sheep. I am learning things right now. Sort of about sheep that I will need to find more information about later. Okay, so I'm kind of... This looks like nothing. It's just a big mass of bleh. I'm trying to get this... There, you can kind of start to see this bone, like... That's bone. I don't know what this is. What's going on here? It's definitely attached up here. Yeah, it's like a... I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can keep speculating, but I'll just... At this point, I'm just repeating myself, so I'll walk away from that. Where'd my tweezers go? I keep burying my tools under the giant head, which is pretty funny. I mean, yeah, it shouldn't be attached. It shouldn't have, like, a double joint there, so it feels like it's attached, but I'm trying to dig so I can see it better. And it's, of course, right up in the ear, so... Which is where the jaw is. This is weird. I don't know anything about sheep. Let's see. Like, I usually do birds. I'm not even really good at mammals. This is just taking me for a walk. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Yeah, I would say it has two horns. Yeah. This is so weird. Is it a hyoid? What is it? Because that gets into the cartilage of the neck. Or the trachea. Because this is a kind of a significant bone. It feels like. Yes? Clara, I'm so glad you're looking this up. And actually, Clara, if you find any good tools, if you can post them here, even after the feed's over, it retains the chat, so I can go back and look at it. I'm very curious. Because this is just... Yeah, there's way more going on in this part of the face than I was really anticipating. I thought I'd be done at this point. And I'm so not, and I'm actually very, very curious as to what is happening here. Yeah, because I'll get you this bone, or whatever it is. You'll see it. Just gotta get it out. Oh, it's so weird. What is this? Sheep are weird. Well, that's a thyroid. Anyway. Let's see. Glands are weird too, but those are knowable weird. Those are standard weird. A basal hyoid. Okay. So it's hyoid-ish? Hyoid adjacent? Okay, I think I've got this side cleaned out enough that it'll show up on the camera. So this guy, this whole thing. So check that out. Like, this is a whole structure here that I... Yeah, no, you see why I'm flipping out. I don't know what... This is like a whole additional jaw. I went and found the predator of sheep. Oh, my feed seems to have gotten weird. Ugh. So gross. Okay. Almost got this out. No, I think that's a lie. Never mind. I don't almost got this out. I wish I almost got this out. I think more to the point I figured out where one of the edges is. This is so weird. What is this thing? I don't know anything about sheep. Wow, this is gross. Let's see. Also, it looks like I just got a whole bunch of follows. Thank you, everybody. Including the one person with sheep in the name, which is epic. So, hooray. Good timing on that name. How do I disconnect this? I can kind of feel this joint. 12,000 follows. That doesn't seem right. Oh yeah, I see that now. I wonder if that's like a DDoS attack on Twitch. Because those look like real names. But obviously, I didn't just get 12,000 followers. Yeah, I noticed that my feed cut out, so I saw that there was a problem. That's very strange. Well, I'm sure something's gonna come up on Twitch. So, they'll tell us what that's about. That seems like some sort of programming error. Oh well, it would have been nice to have a bunch of follows, but I super don't think I just got 12,000 follows. As flattering as that would be. I mean, there are raids, I suppose, but somehow, again, I don't think that's it. Oh, raids don't follow? Okay, then yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, raid would show up as viewers. I'm just trying to get big chunks out of the way here so I can see this strange thing. And that's, I think this whole chunko here is a thyroid gland, because it feels like it's in the right spot for that. Wow, I have not been on this side for a minute. It's I have a lot of work on this side of his head. Oh, this is gross. I'm really looking forward to having the big squishy handful out. Like, this is a lot. It's a lot of squishy gross. Okay, this is all, it's all around the trachea. It all comes back towards the trachea. Alright, Clara, if you're still on, there, this whole process, you can see these guys here. So that's a whole thing kind of associated with the tongue and the trachea. How weird is that, right? Yeah. It's just, it's really weird and huge, and I wasn't anticipating that. I've almost, I know I've been saying that, but I've almost got this. It's getting close. Because if I can get this big meatball out of here, then working on this later will be that much easier, because I won't have a big wasty thing in the way. Should be really nice. So, gotta get that. I could cut through it. Yeah, so Claire, I see your note about when you're doing it for beetle prep, you just leave, you know, don't worry about it. But I'm curious about it, and I really want to see it. And it's so detailed. Like, I'm used to hyoids being like a little V shape. Like, totally simple little dude. That is not what this is. There's very little simple about what's going on in this sheep's head. Go away. Go away. Okay, I got it. Okay, so let me flip this over so you can see it. So, check that beast out. So, there's a little one, and then it attaches to this bigger one, and it attaches way back up here. 6 or 7 bones on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4... Because it has a joint? Like... You can see that joint there? Yeah, this is a remarkably complicated bit of structure that I did not know was a thing. Bloop. There's his brain. Okay. Okay, thanks, Pseudonym. Yeah, because, again, as much as I would love 12,000 followers, that seems questionable. So, yeah. If anybody on the channel has truly followed me, if you're watching this and you followed me tonight, because this follow bomb is so weird, make sure that you don't lose me. So please check to see if you're still following me tomorrow or next week if you're coming back on for taxidermy. Okay, so I think I'm done for the night. Obviously there's a ton left to do on this. This is a huge, huge head. But, you know, it's coming right along. I'm going to leave the eyes for now. They're funny. But I've got this weird hyoid thing. I've got the top, and then I've got the lower mandible out. And so this, I think, is going to be a fallback project for when I am not working on my more detailed things like the bird. Because I love working on birds, but they're hard. This is not. This is butchery. This is handfuls of sloppy meat. If anybody wants to look at a close-up again of no, that's the throat, of the tongue, I'm going to bring it over to the camera so you guys can see it. So Blah, tongue. Big old sheepity tongue. This part's apparently good eating. You do have to skin it before you eat it. You don't want that outer portion that's all leathery, but apparently it's pretty good. And I've got the big trachea. I think everything in the trachea is cartilage, so I am going to throw that away. So I get this guy bagged up, and I'm not sure when I'll bring this particular project back out again. This is going to be kind of a weird rando project. And yeah, don't know what the deal is with the follower bomb, so stay tuned for that, I guess, as we figure that out. Wow, it looks like there's a really big delay with my channel, too. Yeah, no, it's time to call it a night. There's some technical issues. Things are strange. So, hey, everybody, thanks for hanging out. This was particularly gross. That's why I do put up the warning. But thanks for watching. Clara, thank you so much for all your additional info. And I'm going to pop off. So I will be on Thursday doing tinkering light projects, and then I'll be on next Saturday for more taxidermy. So thanks, everybody. Take care.